Listening to Basically a Sports Show.
Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports.
Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes.
And download every episode and more at basicallyasportshow.com.
Now here's your hosts, Zach,
Greg, Mike.
And you're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
The first day of the Commonwealth Games is in the books, gentlemen. After day one, England leads the medal count with 6 gold medals, 7 silver medals, 4 bronze, and 17 total.
After one day?
Yes. Without you Americans clogging up things, we just moved through these events.
Well,
I guess.
We did it as a courtesy. we needed the rest of you American-speaking countries to win some stuff.
Yeah. Give you a little self-confidence.
Yeah, it's the president's English.
The president's English?
That's right. American-speaking.
The Eskimo breaking free. Oh, get tackled down.
What's up with the Eskimos being on every week here? I don't like this.
They're America's team, Greg.
Are they?
The Edmonton Eskimos, America's team.
I don't know why. Like, they're not I guess
they play on Thursdays.
Yeah,
that's the game we pick.
Also, they're a quote-unquote legacy team because they've been around a long time.
And they look like the Packers. They look like Green Bay.
So you could show it to American audiences. American audiences are like, oh, okay, I get
Packers
this.
Falcons.
There are people out there that think that Ohio State and Georgia's uniforms look almost exactly alike, so I suppose you could slip the Edmonton Eskimos past them as the Packers, I imagine.
It's a lot closer than the other one.
Yes. No, except that the Edmonton Eskimos have liberal use of drop shadow.
Yeah.
The Packers just stay away from.
I was going to tell you guys that we got an email last week.
Oh!
And I want to read it to you.
Okay, good.
Because it's from Kyle, and he actually had a couple of really good ideas for the show.
Hi, Kyle.
It's funny because he said that we should do a CFL show.
Oh.
And I said, basically, we'd love to, but I don't know that we know enough about the CFL to pull it off. But we did talk a little bit of CFL last week, and we're talking it again tonight.
Yeah, I mean, these two Yankees don't appreciate the Rogue. The Rouge, the Rogue.
Yeah, it sounds like the Canadian guy doesn't appreciate it all that much either.
I'm sure
it's fun when it happens.
I'm sure when we get into basically a football show, I'm sure we'll have some Grey Cup coverage.
Anyway, back to Kyle's email. And his second idea, I thought this was a really good one. He said that we should talk about what our dream sports road trip would be. If you had a chance to see one home game for every team in the NHL, MLB, whatever, over the course of a season, how would you do it? What team would you start with? What team would you finish with, et cetera, et cetera? I thought that was a pretty cool idea.
Oh, I could say right off the bat what mine would be. I'd want to see a home game in every Canadian NHL arena. I'd actually start out west in Vancouver and move east and finish in Montreal.
Yeah.
Yeah, for hockey, obviously, you got to do the Canadian cities.
Yep.
Seeing a game in Montreal, even though it was like a game on a Thursday against the Ducks, it was in October. Mm-hmm. It was still good.
It's still Montreal.
If you see Leafs Habs on like a Saturday night.
Oh man, that'd be awesome.
Hockey night in Canada.
That would be great.
That'd be great.
Maybe you catch Don Cherry somewhere, and Yeah,
I think if I had to choose a sport to do a road trip for, I mean, I've done a lot for hockey because I love hockey. But if you want to go to see just the different experiences around the country, I'd probably want to do like a college football road trip.
Same here.
And you got to do like the SEC. You got to do stuff like you got to go to Notre Dame.
Right.
You got to go to Ohio. You got to go to the Big House.
SEC is an interesting one because I'm an Auburn fan, but I'm not really inundated in SEC culture. That might be a learning experience for me, or it might just convince me I want nothing to do with it. I don't know. One or the other.
You go see a game in what's Alabama's football? It's not Bear Bryant Stadium, right?
Might as well
like
be.
Bryant Denny or something like that? Or am I thinking?
Denny,
is that it? Okay, am I thinking of a different place? Okay.
Bryant Denny. You got Death Valley at LSU. Auburn.
The Swamp.
The Swamp. Between the Hedges at Georgia. There are some great ones down there.
To me, it would be. I mean, I hate to make it sound like basketball is irrelevant, but really. In this day and age, there really aren't any historical arenas left to go to. Back in the day, it would have been great to go see the Lakers at the Forum.
Boston
at the Garden, that type of thing. But now
you still got Madison Square Garden. But
yeah, that's true. But so that would be about the only one. But I'm with Zach. I would do college football first.
And then for like a road trip for places that I want to see, it's not necessarily the teams.
Yeah.
Because like I'm sure if someone like I want to see the Lakers, well, okay, Staples Center's not. It's Staples Center. It's a big hole at this point. Or like even in baseball, like all these stadiums, there's no like you want to see places like Fenway and Wrigley and Dodger Stadium, sure, but it's like I got to check out Citi Field.
See, here's the thing: I would actually recommend if anyone hasn't been coming up to see a game at Rogers Center or Skydome, if you still call it that, because it's a bit dated, but at the same time, one, it's clean, which is more than I can say for that Costco they play in down in Tampa.
Right.
And two, if you actually go there on, a summer day with a bit of a breeze and they have the roof open, it's still a very nice place to watch a game. And I'd even say that the Skydome has gotten a bit of its uniqueness back now that almost everyone is trying to be Camden Yards or trying to build like baseball field in the middle of a mall.
Yeah, I've been to Rogers Center or Skydome, whatever you want to call it, and
it'll always be the Skydome.
I'm not normally a fan of a dome stadium, and I'm not a fan of baseball being played on plastic. But I've got to say that they had the roof open the day I was there, and it was great. It was a really cool place to go see a game. I agree.
They're getting they're going to install real grass. I think in 2017 is the date they have set.
Oh, that'll be cool.
And the Argos are just going to move into BMO Field. So
for me,
soccer field,
college football, SEC definitely. I'd have to go to Notre Dame, the Rose Bowl. I think going to a game at like A&M at Texas A&M or at Texas would be cool. Nebraska,
Kyle Field is a fun time.
Nebraska. I mean, all the traditional places. Ohio State, obviously, Michigan. But I think if I had to pick,
you got to catch a game in Boise.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Okay, guy.
I can go see Boise Stadium in Toledo without the blue grass because that's basically the only difference.
I'd go, but I'd bring a sign that says grass is supposed to be green.
Yeah, really. But
grass is always greener.
If I had to pick three out of college football, it'd probably be Notre Dame. Mm-hmm. Ooh.
You ever seen a game in Michigan?
No, I'd say Michigan would definitely be up there too. And my third one, I would probably... Okay, if it could just be any game I want, I'd say the Rose Bowl. The actual game itself would be there, too.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about the new trophy for the playoff?
I think it looks like a giant beer tap.
I haven't seen it yet.
You really?
No.
I think it's an improvement by virtue of just not being something that looks like it belongs in your grandmother's china cabinet.
No. The glass football still exists because that'll still be awarded by the coaches poll because that will still exist.
Okay.
But this is what they're going to give out when you win the aptly named just college football playoff.
They spent a whole 10 minutes coming up with that name. Didn't
it looks just like a beer tap. You're absolutely right.
It looks like a Guinness beer tap. It's all one piece too. It's one thing. Like the gold part isn't something you just take off.
The thing that was brought up in the discussion of this, which I tend to agree with, is there's not going to be any really good way to hold this thing.
Yeah, here's it next to a human, so you can kind of gauge the scale. Yeah.
Now it just looks like a giant beer tap.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of like a goldish Lombardi trophy.
Is it supposed to kind of represent a spotlight? Because that's the vibe I'm getting off the stuff in the background there, the national championship stuff on the wall.
I don't know. I mean,
Dr. Pepper can.
Oh yeah. I don't know. On one hand, like I said, it's not that stupid crystal football,
right?
So it's an improvement in that regard, but at the same time,
it was easily handled, though.
Yeah, I don't know how you pick this thing up.
Everybody's holding it like a football and doing stuff with it.
Yeah, but at the same time, it looked like something in my grandma's china cabinet. Where it's
exactly.
I've never been a fan of any of the other trophies. I prefer my trophy to be drinkable. I prefer Stanley Cups. I prefer MLS Cups.
The Orange Bowl still has the best trophy.
It's a big bowl of oranges.
It's a practical. You can have a nice, nutritious snack on the way home after winning the game.
Yep. Have you seen like the Fiesta Bowl trophy and stuff like that?
No.
Naughty.
Is it just like a big bag of chips?
No. Well, no, it's no longer chips. Remember, no Tostitos.
No
Do they
love.
have a new sponsor?
I don't know.
We haven't heard. No love for the World Series trophy. I always thought it was kind of cool, very unique.
I like the newer version.
But this is, I don't know, this isn't terrible, but it does look like a giant beer tap. There's just no way around that.
But no, I'm with Zach. We need more cups or at least bowls in sports.
Mm-hmm.
And the NFL.
Because then you can use it for something. It's not just sitting on your cabinet.
Yeah, the NFL's conference trophies just look.
I won't get into what those remind me of.
I think everyone's commented on that.
Anyway, where were we at on the sports road trip thing? But yeah, I would love to go to the Rose Bowl. I guess that was what I was getting at.
Greg, you're the big baseball guy. What are like the baseball stadiums that you need to hit?
I would have loved to have seen Yankee Stadium before the old one.
Yeah, I got a chance to go to the old one.
Believe it or not, I'm torn on Fenway. I would love to see it for the historical aspect, but I just don't know if I could bring myself to be surrounded by that many Red Sox fans.
You got to go when it's not a game day and take the tour.
Exactly. That I would probably do. And here's the weird thing. I love baseball history. I'm all about it and all that. I have really no desire to go to Wrigley Field at all. I mean, I'd go. Don't get me wrong.
I hear it smells like piss.
That's what I've heard too. But I mean, it's never held any particular charm for me. I can't explain why.
But the ivy.
Well, that's fine, I suppose.
Yeah, it's I mean, I went the one time the Angels have been there. When you walk in, it honestly feels like a minor league ballpark.
I wouldn't doubt it.
With the way that it's constructed on the inside. And when you get it, when you're actually sitting in the stands, you kind of look around. You're like, "Oh, this is old timey." And then you look at the billboards that they plastered out beyond the wall, and you're like, "Oh, this isn't so old timey." So it's this weird mix of stuff, but it's still worth the trip. If you're a baseball fan, you should at least see a game in Wrigley.
I mean, that's not to say that I wouldn't like to go there, but if you said, okay, pick one stadium you could go to, that wouldn't be on my list.
What would be your one stadium
right now?
Yeah, Dodger Stadium.
Probably either that or see an Angels game. Anaheim would be cool. Yeah, just because I would love to do that. But if I had a chance to pick one right now,
I have a ticket for Sunday's game if you're interested, Greg.
I would love to. I don't know if I can get there in time though.
It's a day game against the Astros.
Oh wow.
Or no, the Tigers.
You're gonna buy for airfare out to California.
I just figured I'd hop on my.
I do have preferred parking.
I just figured I'd hop on my bike after the show and take off and just ride straight through.
You'll get here.
If I get one stadium right now would be PNC Park in Pittsburgh because I've heard it's just spectacular.
Yeah.
You're not going to go to the Cardinals and just be surrounded by the classiest fans in baseball?
I would love to go see a Cardinals game. I really would.
Everyone wearing jean shorts and clapping politely?
I'd fit right in.
So, a Maple Leafs game.
Absolutely. To hockey, so here's the thing with hockey. I've been to Joe Louis. I've been to Madison Square Garden. I would love.
Joe Louis is a dump.
It really. Well, I was there in '85, so it wasn't as much of a dump as it is now. Probably.
The banners are cool, and it's like okay, the Detroit Red Wings, but the place is a dump.
I've been there recently. It is a giant concrete donut.
Yeah,
it was actually my first ever NHL game. It was the Red Wings against the Maple Leafs.
I think they're still using the same music selection they were in 1985.
Probably, yeah, that's true.
If I could do a hockey road trip, I'd want to go to every single place, all of them. Even Florida, even Phoenix, even...
Would you go to Florida and buy a seat in the upper bowl so they'd have to take the tarps off?
I'd be up there waving, just me by myself.
We mentioned Detroit's old broken down arena, as historical as Joe Louis is. But they released the plans this week for their brand new sparkling palace.
My first question is, who's paying for this? Because the city of Detroit ain't doing it.
I think it's the city of Detroit, and the state of Michigan. Yeah.
Are they just gonna issue a bunch of IOUs to creditors?
I don't know, but they're building it.
Wow.
And there's going to be so many people there. Everyone's going to want to hang out in downtown Detroit.
I know I want to hang out in downtown Detroit all the time.
Especially for night games. I
not a safer
Detroit
place
after dark.
Not a safer place in the country. My second observation when I saw these plans was downtown Detroit's ever going to be that lively because they have the mock-ups of all the people outside.
Yeah.
The thing on the roof, are they actually going to do that, or is that just
it's in the drawing?
You probably do it because the Red Wings are obnoxious and can't let anyone forget their greatness.
I think it'll be really cool. I just don't know that Detroit is smart to spend all the money on it.
I don't know.
They're putting it right down by Ford Field and Comerica Park, huh?
Yeah, right next to it.
You'll have
probably claiming it's going to revitalize the area.
Yeah, that always works. you'll have 3 really nice places in a war zone. Because have you guys ever been to Comerica Park?
I've been to Detroit. I've walked next to it.
I've been by it, but I've never been in it.
Well, you've got Comerica Park, which is a beautiful stadium. It's great. The food's terrible, but the place itself is very nice. You've got Ford Field next to it.
This huge behemoth of a stadium.
And Ford Field is really cool looking, I'll say that.
And you've got the Fox Theater, and then you've got a bunch of buildings with broken windows that look like they haven't been tended to since the 60s. $650 million.
The city of Detroit doesn't have it. God damn it.
Are we sure that the city's paying for it?
I thought that's what I thought I heard.
I heard that the city would be paying for it with like special types of bonds, and like there would be some. The Red Wings would pay for a portion of it, but the city's paying for a portion too, and the city of Detroit should not be paying for anything.
What the hell was that?
That was the ad that played when I tried to read this article.
But the mock-ups look cool.
Development will be overseen by the Illich's Olympia Developments.
Well, that works out well, especially if someone else is paying for it. It looks cool. I just not crazy about the idea of the city paying for it, but I don't live there. Hey, it's not my problem.
You know what? I'm sure some of that. I'm sure some of that Amway money will, help because it is now technically the Detroit Red Wings presented by Amway.
But the family owns much of the land already and has been buying up lots around the long economically challenges Cass corridor and lining up a financing plan to bring the $650 million vision to reality.
If it's privately financed, I'm all for it. If the city of Detroit has no business blowing tax dollars on something like this.
I think the city and the state are contributing parts to it, but I think the Red Wings are paying for a good part of it. Though.
Well, they should pay for a good part of it, considering that when they were kind of going over the plans for this, it was revealed that the Red Wings hadn't been paying rent at Joe Louis for 4 years.
Well, you've been there. Would you pay rent?
No.
Here's the poll. Do you think the new Detroit Red Wings arena plans will catalyze lasting development in Detroit?
No.
I don't think it will. These things never work.
It never does.
We talked about this a long time ago. The money thing where they say, well, it'll bring new money in. No, what it does is it moves money. It doesn't bring any new money in. It just moves money from one area of your economy to another because it's the same people spending the money. They're just spending it in different places. So it doesn't really revitalize anything. It just moves money from one place to another, from movie theaters or whatever to the arena.
A new stadium doesn't bring a whole new legion of Red Wings fans out of the ether.
No. That's the problem. That's where people get lost on this.
You want to get into Michael Sam and Tony Dungy?
Yeah, for a minute. We don't need to set it up. I think everybody knows what happened. He tried to make it sound more like it wasn't about whether or not he was gay, but the distractions he would bring, which in a vacuum is a legitimate point. Everywhere Michael Sam goes, if he makes a team, there are going to be 8 games this year where the entire team's going to have to answer the same questions over and over again. That's a legitimate point. But the problem that I have with Tony Dungy with this is that Michael Vick, I'm sure, brought, I would say, a few more distractions than Michael Sam will.
My issue.
But if you ask him, it's different.
It is different, but here's the problem I have with it when it's Tony Dungy saying it. When Tony Dungy basically went around the NFL trying to convince teams to sign Michael Vick when Michael Vick was released from prison. Tony Dungy tried to do that, and he tried to convince teams that they should sign a convicted felon and put up with the distractions that came with that. According to Tony Dungy, in Tony Dungy's mind, a convicted felon is worth the distractions that come with signing him, but a gay man isn't.
My point exactly.
I think it's different, though, insofar as that NFL teams have signed convicted felons before.
Boy.
Plenty of them.
Yeah.
Another thing, though, that I want to comment on with this whole distraction talk is that it's the same argument that people were using to justify not signing black players.
Or black coaches.
Right.
Like,
it's
black quarterbacks.
It'll be a distraction. The media, it'll bring in a media attention. It'll be a distraction in the locker room, yada, yada, yada. And you'd think Tony Dungy would be keenly aware of that. That's kind of what bugs me about this. Yes, I don't think anyone has ever suggested that Michael Sam signing with an NFL team will be a distraction-free event. And to suggest they have, that's just being obtuse. But the larger point is, yes, the first person to break a barrier will garner a lot of media attention, or distractions, if you want to call it that. Jackie Robinson brought a lot of distractions to the Brooklyn Dodgers. But once that was done, once race became less and less of a factor, those distractions became non-existent. And so for Tony Dungy saying, I wouldn't draft him because of the distractions, well, that's an obtuse thing to say, because if you're going to say that, then you're essentially saying, I don't want us to get to the point where being gay won't be a distraction. Because
here's the other thing, though. He says it's going to be a distraction. Have you heard anything about it since he was drafted, really?
Nope.
I can't even.
Has it really been that big of a story?
I couldn't even tell you how he's doing in training camp, honestly,
right.
because
and I mean, we think even think to like last year when Manti Te'o gets drafted. Everyone thought, all the talk around the draft, that's going to be a distraction, and how can you trust him? Blah 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 issues, and then. How many times did we hear about Manti Te'o's girlfriend?
That's honestly what should happen, is that, yes, initially people are going to talk about it. Initially people are going to want to ask questions about it. But at the end of the day, once the season gets underway, once everyone starts playing football, once people see he's not going to try to rape a guy on the field, it's going to become a non-issue, which is what it should be, a non-issue. So yes, Tony Dungy, there will be distractions. But at the end of the day, those distractions will be non-existent once everyone realizes that being gay does not warrant this kind of attention.
Normally, I don't care. I don't put much stock in anything anybody says in sports, but I'm really disappointed with Tony Dungy, because this is a guy that I really held in high esteem, one of the few in sports that I do.
Of course, the other thing he said later in the week, too, was, I don't agree with his lifestyle, but it doesn't change him as a football player.
He said, I don't wish any ill will to him, even though I don't agree with his lifestyle, which got people in a hubbub. Tony Dungy has sort of taken it upon himself to be the moral authority when it comes to the football media apparatus, especially with the Michael Vick thing. He sort of made a name for himself as like, I'm going to stand up for what's right, even if it's hard or unpopular. And then this comes out and it's like, oh, well.
It's hard for me to understand why you would be an advocate for a guy that killed animals and was just cruel, just straight up cruel. There's no other way to describe it, to animals for no good reason. Mm-hmm. But you have a problem with the guy just because he's gay?
That goes back to what happened during the draft. I forgot who it was, but there's that one commentator who said, in the NFL, you can abuse your wife, or you can sell drugs, you can shoot somebody or kill someone while driving under the influence, and that's all right. But if you're gay, then that's a problem.
I'm worried that because I like him so much that I'm blinding myself to what's actually going on here.
That's the other thing, though, is why do we need to ask Tony Dungy about it? We know what Tony Dungy's stance is going to be. Why do you need to ask him? Like, what purpose does that serve?
At the end of the day, there's a whole other discussion that can happen about whether or not there is a responsibility when it comes to, putting the supposed cohesiveness of the locker room above doing the right thing. And yeah, again, like from what I understand, it's not like an NFL locker room is this harmonious place that a gay guy's suddenly going to disrupt. Look at Jackie Robinson. Obviously, there were distractions that could have potentially played out there, but the Brooklyn Dodgers said, no, we're going to do this. But that's a whole other discussion.
Well, here's the thing. Okay, there will be people that will ask questions about it. Like I said, every road game he has, it's going to come up. So instead of sitting back and fretting about all these quote unquote distractions and how it's going to disrupt everything, just do it like this. When we come to town, Michael Sam will do 1.5 hour with everybody, and that's it. Don't ask us any more questions about it. Solve the problem.
The thing that really just sticks out to me about all of this is that it's just hypocritical, again, because Dungy went to bat for Michael Vick. And again, that's sort of saying distractions are worth it if it's a convicted felon, but not for a gay man. And then, again, the fact that in the history of African Americans in professional sports, the whole distraction argument had been used against them decades and decades ago.
Right. He does come across just like a hypocrite of just unbelievably. It's terrible.
And I guess on that racial point, I'd say to Tony Dungy, you wouldn't have the career that you have if someone didn't decide to roll the dice on a distraction decades ago.
Exactly.
Something else that I guess Keith Olbermann brought this up when he was talking about it. Basically, the other thing that Tony Dungy's saying is that Tony Dungy, as a head coach, wouldn't have been able to be a good enough coach to handle the distractions.
Yeah.
Tony Dungy's a coach that doesn't want to deal with distractions at all.
Right.
You know,
which
is you can stretch it that way, I guess, but I don't know. It's just a bad situation for a guy that I think, like you said, and I mean, he was the coach of my team for the most successful years of the franchise. He's a guy that most people generally like.
That's why it was so disappointing to me.
This is just, it's unfortunate that these things come out, and then it's unfortunate that he thinks that way in the first place. But. Right.
And I'm with you. Why do we care what he thinks about it? I guess we do because he's a guy that comments on football.
He's an NFL media personality.
Right.
And so if somebody's interviewing a media personality about anything, like you could be asking them about, how do you think the Titans are going to do this year? And then, but since you're an NFL media person, well, the big story in the NFL is that we now have a gay man in our midst. What do you think about Michael Sam?
Openly gay, yeah.
Right. So here's a question, too, really quick, and then we'll move on to something else. If Michael Sam is a first or second round pick, do you think that Tony Dungy would have as big a problem with it? Michael Vick was clearly a guy. Yeah, Michael Vick was clearly a guy that, with all of the baggage that he brought with him, he still was a guy that could help your team win football games. Michael Sam's a 6th round draft pick.
Yeah, I think that probably has something to do with it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, there's so much hypocrisy in that league, and that's what's going to segue nicely into what I want to bring up next. Ray Rice, who we watched video of, dragging his unconscious fiance, I guess at the time, out of an elevator. And according to the NFL Network, and I quote, he had to deal with the iron fist of the NFL and got a whopping 2-game suspension for that.
ESPN asked,
is Paul Tagliabue back?
ESPN asked, is the NFL being lenient enough?
Yeah, I saw that too.
Yeah.
So this is the thing. This is what kills me about this sport, the sport that I have this love-hate relationship with. In the NFL, if you smoke a joint, you're gone for 4 games. You beat your wife unconscious, no problem, 2 games, don't worry about it.
Well, I mean, it was just his fiance. They weren't actually.
Oh well, that makes it different then. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I agree, but it just drives me nuts. It's just
I was expecting more. Like, I mean, people have problems with Goodell, but I think the one thing everyone can agree on with Roger Goodell is that he has done what is necessary when it comes to trying to preserve the image of the NFL, and he has a history of saying, if you fuck up, you're going to feel the full extent of the law of what I can do. And then this happens.
He did at the beginning, but I think he's softened up over the years of being the commissioner.
Yeah, a little bit. I agree.
When he first came in, he needed to make his impression. He did all the stuff with Pac-Man Jones.
He's still playing, by the way.
Yeah.
How is Pac-Man Jones still in the league?
Hey, he's a valuable contributor to the Cincinnati Bengals.
See, that's the problem I have, is that if Michael Sam were a first-round pick, there wouldn't be any of this. You'd have everybody. I mean, even the most anti-gay people you could find, if the guy was
he's a good football player.
Let's say if he was the next Lawrence Taylor, there would be everybody would be advocating, it's time for us to get rid of all these prejudices and the bigotry and all that. But he's a 6th round draft pick, so he's a distraction. He's this, that, and the other thing. It's nonsense to me.
Yeah, he's a guy that may not even make it through camp.
Right, and then that's going to be a whole other thing, or another whole thing.
Well, that's something for the Rams that might be considered a distraction. When it comes down to cutting time, and you're in their final cuts, if Michael Sam's on the borderline, do they keep him just for good looks? Or do they get rid of him because of football reasons?
I mean, but you see, that's the thing, really. Like, unless Michael Sam either fails so spectacularly or succeeds above and beyond everyone's expectations, regardless of what happens, it's going to be a question. If he's not cut, did they just keep him because he's gay? If he's cut, did they cut him because he's gay?
Right.
And so I think, honestly, it kind of falls to Jeff Fisher. Jeff Fisher, I think, in terms of reputation, I think has a pretty good reputation.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think that's what it will come down to. If Jeff Fisher says, we cut him or we kept him for these reasons and his orientation had nothing to do with it, if he's able to do that in a convincing manner, then it's gonna fall on Jeff Fisher to defuse the situation regardless of what happens. Again, unless he's obviously so talented or so not talented that, whatever the decision is justified.
You're right. If he's a guy that's a borderline player, no matter what happens, it's going to be one way or the other. Did they keep him because he's gay? Did they get rid of him because he's gay? It's just It shouldn't even be a discussion, but it's going to be because there always has to be the first guy that breaks down the wall and everybody else runs through. So, but I just the hypocrisy of the NFL just drives me crazy. And 2 games for Ray Rice, come on.
Well, I mean, they're 2 big games for the Ravens.
Well, that makes it better.
Steelers.
Okay, well that makes it better.
Not that Ray Rice was a big contributor for the Ravens last year, but whatever.
I just think that it's crazy that you smoke a joint and you get suspended for 4 days or 4 games, and if you do that, you're only suspended for 2.
Does the NFL need to be more lenient? God damn it!
Yeah,
that's a Tagliabue move. Okay,
well, I don't
that
know.
is a Tagliabue move.
What would you have wanted? 4?
I
don't know.
I think
half a season.
A year?
At least half a season.
I think a year.
Yeah.
Me personally, see, this is the problem. This is why it's a good thing I don't run professional sports, because I would have just said, "You're done. That's it. Goodbye."
I think in context of everything else, I think 4 games probably would have been better.
Yeah, definitely.
I would have gone with anywhere between half a season to a full season.
The Ravens have cheerleaders, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I say here, no suspension at all. Time to the goalpost and let the cheerleaders beat the shit out of them for an hour. We'll call it even. Ladies and gentlemen, Zach's Tabs.
Zach's Tabs!
Well, that was a good one, Mike.
Thank you.
All right.
Well, I have several things here. So we're just going to start with the first one on the very left.
Okay.
All right.
American football
Okay.
takes step towards the Olympics, and it could be a medal sport in 2024.
You got to be kidding.
A vote on American football becoming a full-fledged Olympic sport could take place as early as 2017.
We're not talking.
International Federation of American Football was given provisional recognition Tuesday by the International Olympic Committee.
Do they understand that a good Texas high school football team would win the gold medal?
Yeah. We talked about last week when Canada beat Kuwait 91-0.
Right.
I was going to
under 20 championships.
Yeah, no. I was going to say, get ready for every gold medal to be Canada versus the United States. The United States is going to kill them in every gold medal game.
I like football as much as the next person, but an Olympic sport, the rest of the world doesn't play it.
There are national teams, but they're terrible.
Right, here's the IFAF already has 64 member countries from 6 continents. And here's the interesting part, playing 3 different types of men's and women's football: tackle, flag, and beach.
Beach,
as in sand.
Right. I just think it's a dumb idea to put football on the. I mean, in time when the rest of the world kind of catches up to it, sure. But right now, you're just asking for 63 countries to line up to get slaughtered.
A good Texas high school team versus the national team from Sweden. It's not even close.
Right. It'd be interesting.
Oh, sure.
For us uni nerds, seeing all these national team uniforms would be interesting.
It says that the IFAF is hopefully to ultimately follow in the footsteps of rugby, which has steadily grown worldwide popularity. Now,
allegedly.
I think rugby makes more sense in the Olympics than American football does.
Absolutely.
Every gold medal game will be Canada versus the United States, and the United States will win like 54-10.
It's called American football for a reason, and I don't mean that like I'm being provincial or anything. I'm saying that it's called that because
what are these Germans doing playing American football?
Because basically it's us and Canada that play it, and that's about it.
Right. Well, it's like last week when I flipped over that they had the lacrosse championships on.
Yeah.
Technically there's 3 North American teams when you have the U.S., Canada, and the Iroquois.
I still love that the Iroquois have a team. It's nice. It's nice.
Yeah.
Didn't the Indians basically invent lacrosse?
Yeah, it was. Oh, here's the thing. Native lacrosse is a blood sport that would go on for
the
like
goals
days
were
on end.
miles and miles apart.
Yeah.
And the sticks were used to fatally injure your opponents.
Nice.
And whoever got the ball into the other nation's goal first won and gained territory. And Buffalo.
Also, here's the funny thing about it. When the Europeans would show up, like the British would have forts like across northern North America, like New England and Canada. And there'd be like this huge blood sport lacrosse game going on right next to the fort. And like the British would be like, oh, this is peculiar. But then like what would happen would be like some native would toss the ball like over the fort. And then the guy would be like, hey, can we come in to get our ball back? And the British would be like, sure. So they'd open like the gates to the fort, and then all of these natives would rush in and slaughter everyone.
Wow. Well, see, now you make lacrosse like that now, and it would probably supplant the NFL as the most popular sport on television.
Just like this giant field with people dying and
2 teams enter, 1 survives.
Sunday.
Blood. The NBA.
Oh, good.
Considering putting an in-season tournament, neutral site tournament, in the middle of the season.
What would the tournament be for?
Well, what's the purpose of it?
It would be for that tournament's championship. What the idea is, in the way that it's described in this, like if you go over to England, for example, in England you have the Premier League, right?
Right.
And that's the
Barclays
league.
Premier League.
Right, and that's the league, and that's what everyone, in general, that's what everyone plays for. But they also have an in-season tournament called the FA Cup, which is basically between all of England. Even if your local village club, it's like Premier League, FA Championships, like FA 1, 2. They do the same thing in MLS, don't they? Because I know that in the middle of the season, Toronto FC. There's the U.S. Open. There's the U.S. Open Cup in the States, and in Canada, there's the Canada Cup.
Yeah, just in the middle of the MLS season, Toronto FC were like, we're going to go play like these local Canadian teams for like some trophy.
So let me ask then. So this wouldn't just be, say, we have a tournament at the middle of the season, and it's the top 4 teams from the East and the top 4 teams from the West. It would be anybody involved, kind of thing.
Say a team it's not something that they've thought through all the way.
Remember the And One team they used to show on ESPN?
Yeah,
if those guys could get in, that would be cool. Yeah. I would watch that.
It would only be NBA teams. Like they wouldn't just take.
That makes no sense.
Yeah. If you're gonna do like a couple, like the top NBA teams, and then a couple other teams, like I noticed in the D League, the D League All Stars have a team in the Summer League.
Yeah.
See, if they did that, it's going to be a couple NBA teams, and then it's going to be like the And One team, and then like the Harlem Globetrotters.
Yeah, the Globetrotters, that would be awesome.
The idea is that like it would be a single elimination type tournament. Like last year, we could say the Spurs are the best team, and they're going to win the NBA title. But if in the middle of the season you had a one-off tournament, and all of a sudden the Sacramento Kings are hot at that point in the season,
what would that prove? Like,
that's exactly
that they won that tournament.
The Spurs won the NBA championship, and then the Kings won the, I don't know,
right.
Division Invitational.
I think that
it has no purpose.
I think that at the All-Star break, we're pretty sure of who the really lousy teams are, who the lottery teams are going to be. If he wanted to have a tournament to determine the number 1 draft pick, I think that would be cool.
I'd be on board with that.
There had to be some sort of stakes. Because, like, the reason that the FA Cup works in England, let's say, is because you get all of England involved. Mm-hmm. It's not just...
And you'd have teams that wouldn't normally play against each other.
Right. And actually, the Premier League is kind of an apt comparison insofar as there's only so many teams that will ever win the Premier League. And there's really only so many teams that will ever win an NBA title. So these sort of things are for like the lower level teams to win something.
It works in England though because the FA Cup, it's like, okay, we're going to have teams from all levels of English football playing each other. If they want to do that in the NBA and they want to bring in maybe some D League teams,
the Globetrotters,
or even bring in like the teams from Canada, the National Basketball League in Canada. And bring those teams in.
Basically, it would just be a pointless exercise unless you let in, like there's some little street ball teams that are really good, but they're not NBA caliber good. Yeah. Okay, it would be fun to watch. Say, I don't know, let's say the Houston Rockets take on the And One mixtape team or whatever they were called. That would be fun to watch. Yeah. But just to have the Kings play the. I don't know, I was going to say the Sonics, but they're not there anymore. Like the Kings play the Trailblazers for no reason other than it's just a tournament we're going to have in the middle of the season. Just seems pointless to me.
I do like the idea Zach had of doing it for like, was it Zach or you, Greg, who said like have the lower level teams play for a draft pick?
Yeah, that was because that ends all argument over the lottery. You have the tournament and you seed it or you set it up in such a way that you have, what are there, 11 lottery teams right now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you have, this team finished 11th. They pick 11th right up to the team that I guess wins it, gets the top pick. At least that way they would have something to play for.
It's interesting to think about, but it's not something that it's not something that ever work. In the States and Canada.
Not unless they let the Globetrotters in. Then I would watch.
No. Well, I mean,
and the Washington Generals.
Do they let the Generals in? Do they
Absolutely.
let the Generals win something?
Absolutely.
You know the Generals have won, like...
Well, I would have said before LeBron came back, I would have said this was just designed so that Cleveland could win a title. But
I don't know. I think the Washington Generals could beat the Horned Cats.
There's some bad things going on at your alma mater.
Yes, I did.
Ohio State band.
I did hear about this. Yes.
What is your band doing, Greg?
Oh, it's not good.
Jonathan Waters, the marching band director, has been relieved of his duties.
Thankfully.
Because he knew or reasonably should have known about the culture, but failed to eliminate the sexual harassment, prevent its reoccurrence, and address its effects. Basically,
whoa. There's a culture of sexual harassment in bands?
Yes.
At least at Ohio State there is.
Well, yes. Here's some of the list of things. Witnesses stated that, quote-unquote, tricks are acts individual band members perform either on command or at their own volition. Some witnesses described how tricks are assigned to rookies and often performed throughout their entire tenure in the band. The tricks are usually connected to students' assigned nicknames, which are equally terrible. Several witnesses provide examples of sexually explicit tricks assigned to performed by new band members given sexually explicit nicknames, including, this is a great list, okay, a female student sitting on laps and pretending to orgasm. This included her sitting on her younger brother's lap and pretending to
it gets better. Wait, Mike.
Make the band night. Her nickname was Squirt. Female student thumping the ground with her foot and pretending to orgasm. Her nickname was Thumper. Two females rubbing their chests together. Their nicknames were Jubes, spelled like Jew with O-O-B-S at the end, and Tiggles.
A couple of girls getting together. I don't have a problem with that.
A male student conducting a full-body demonstration of a flaccid penis becoming erect and spitting candy. This trick was also occasionally performed with another female student who pretended to stimulate the male student. His nickname was Jizzy.
God.
A male student scooting across the floor on his hind quarters.
Oh, no.
His nickname? Tank Brush. A male student stamping other students' forehead with a penis stamp. His nickname was Mushroom Stamp.
No, witty.
A male student chanting, "Hey, we want some pussy." His nickname was Captain Dildo. He was pretending to be a vibrating sex toy. Her name was ERV, which stood for E-Row Vibrator.
Hey, baby.
And a female student would sing sexually explicit songs about someone. Her nickname was Tulsa.
I don't get Tulsa.
Yeah, some other great nicknames: Pat Phoenix, Ball Sacagawea,
God,
Mater, Boob Job, Donk, Fleshlight, Gina, Jizzy, Mushroom Stamp, Sugar Bush,
yeah, get it right.
Hey,
Tits McGee, Triple Crown, Twat Thumper, Twinkle Dick. And then they also sang. There was a book that was included, a little booklet of vulgar fight songs for other schools. So, Michigan was "Come Blow Us, Michigan," or "Hail to Those Motherfuckers."
Oh, I've heard that one.
Hail to the motherfuckers. Hail to the big cocksuckers.
Yep.
Those guys. FU, MSU.
Just a quick example of the words or the lyrics to the MSU fight song. Green and white, a shitty sight. It's time to play the Spartans. They shave their legs, those dirty fags. They love to molest little children. My alma mater, a real classy bunch, huh?
Yeah.
I was going to say, that's witty.
Yeah.
Well, you gotta finish the verse, Greg. Fags are prancing in these Lansing.
Oh, what a bunch of queers. So fuck you, MSU. Here's a cock right up your rear.
I just want to say that I am so happy to see that the Ohio State English department has not failed these young people. Because clearly these lyrics are the work of geniuses.
Yeah.
That education is really...
Come blow us, Michigan. Our cocks are waiting for you. Come blow us, Michigan. It's such a lovely thing to do.
How often do penises enter into these lyrics?
That's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
But...
It really is.
So...
Yeah. Go Bucks!
Oh, guys.
Nice to see that Ohio State University education is going to good use.
Oh, my God.
Their parents must feel like they're getting all of their money's worth.
10 years ago, I was really proud that I went to this school. I don't know that I can say that so much anymore.
Hey, you got Urban Meyer.
Yeah, okay. I'm sure there's nothing shady going on with the football team or anything.
No.
Of course not.
Hey, you know what?
Clean as a whistle.
It's hard to be outraged at crap like that after Penn State turned their program into a rape factory.
That you're right. It would be tough to be on the level of Penn State, but damn if the Buckeyes aren't making a run at it.
That's true. Yeah.
The Maple Leafs might have their own LeBron James.
Oh, okay. Who?
Steven Stamkos.
Is he coming home?
This idiot that writes for the Hockey News, Adam Proto.
Is he the guy who was like, what does the Redskins ruling mean for the Blackhawks?
Yeah, that's him.
Okay.
He wrote a story with LeBron James mulling a return home to Cleveland. Will the Leafs have their own LeBron? And he mentioned specifically Steven Stamkos and also PK Subban. And when the Hockey News tweeted that out and tweeted out that article, Steven Stamkos liked the tweet.
Okay, listen up, Tampa Bay. Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment might be sucky at running a hockey team, but they have more money than God.
Right.
Start a bidding war.
And the nice
Proto
thing
also said was after the Stamkos piece went up, a good source said he really thinks that Stamkos could go to the Leafs in 16 instead of take a max contract.
Another thing to think about, too, for Stamkos at least, is that he really wouldn't have to change his uniform or anything.
No, he wouldn't have to get a new helmet or anything.
Nothing. He'd be all set. Good to go.
Say he gets to keep the same gloves.
No offense to the vast Tampa Bay Lightning audience that or fans that are in our audience, but I'd actually kind of like to see that.
I would too. And again, Stevie Y, start a bidding war, see what happens.
Well,
that's the same thing we say at Ohio State.
A lot of Maple Leafs fans were getting riled up on Twitter.
Tampa.
A lot of the Maple Leafs fans were getting riled up on Twitter and were putting up all these things. So much so that the Tampa Bay Lightning actually noticed this, so they had to put up a tweet with a quote from Steven Stamkos saying how much he likes to stay in Tampa Bay and wants to win in Tampa Bay.
Well, that's not happening, is it?
Who would you rather play for? If you're Steven Stamkos, all things being equal, who would you rather play for, the Leafs or the Lightning?
I mean, honestly,
yeah, really?
No, I'd say the Leafs. I'm going to say the Leafs.
Well, see, the thing is, like, there's so many opportunities for the same sort of thing to happen for, hometown kid to go home and lead the Maple Leafs to a title, but no one does it.
If I may turn this into a rant.
Feel free.
Okay. This is a trend, and I hope Steven Stamkos does it. On the base level, yes, because it would be awesome to get a player of his caliber to come to the Maple Leafs. That is the beginning point of my bias on this. I'm not going to deny that. But on another level, it is so goddamn frustrating to see this region, which not only cares about the Maple Leafs so much, but which constantly produces some of the best hockey players in the world. Toronto! And it's frustrating to see that when they get a chance, they opt to not come to Toronto and win a Stanley Cup and become immortal in the annals of hockey history. Yes! No, they want to go to Tampa, or they want to go to Raleigh, or they want to go to Nashville because it's sunny and you can go to practice in flip-flops and cargo shorts. And it's just, where the hell is the sense of pride? You grow up rooting for the Maple Leafs. You grow up, and I guarantee you grow up as a kid, probably, dreaming of playing for the Maple Leafs. And you'd rather go play for some pissant team that's not going to amount to anything anyway. And you'd rather go play for the Tampa Bay Lightning than the Toronto Maple Leafs. Look, weather's not going to be a factor because of the traveling. It's not like you're going to be spending all that much time continuously in Tampa anyway. No. And you can still live down there during the off season if your heart desires, if you really want to take advantage of that Florida weather. Yeah. But God damn it. And it's not like money's an issue either because MLSE is by far the richest team in the league. They can afford top talent. So it's not a matter of money. It's just a matter of, no, these guys, they don't want to put up the pressure of playing for the Maple Leafs. They're your hometown team. Come home. Win a Stanley Cup. Etch your names into hockey history forever. Yeah. No one's going to remember you as the good player on a crappy Tampa Bay Lightning team that never amounted to anything. But if you win a Stanley Cup for the Maple Leafs, you've permanently etched your face onto hockey's Mount Rushmore.
Spoken like a true Cleveland fan, Mike. Well done.
Elsewhere, we'll stay in the hockey vein.
Oh, good.
The LA Kings continue to wreak havoc. It's come to light this week as a new lawsuit was filed in Riverside that the LA Kings are responsible for destroying the sex lives of two grandparents.
What?
Trina and Dino Adam claimed that they were in LA Kings Icetown Sports Center in Riverside, California, back in January for their granddaughter's birthday party.
Okay.
According to TMZ, the document states that the couple claims they were celebrating in a special room away from the ice rink in the sports center when a hockey puck zipped into the room and struck Trina in the head.
Oh, my God.
According to the suit, Trina was knocked out cold, and her husband caught her before she hit the ground. But she suffered serious injuries from the incident, including nausea, headaches, mood swings, memory loss, and more. But that's not all. Dino says he's suffered as well, claiming the suit that he's lost, quote, the enjoyment of sexual relations with his wife. The couple is suing the Kings organization for medical expenses and other damages.
First of all, you're at your granddaughter's birthday party, for God's sake.
Yeah, what are you doing sneaking off?
What are you doing sneaking off to, you know?
I the way that I read it, it's either they snuck away and were in a special room, or the party was in a special room in a pub.
Oh, so they weren't at the grandkids' party hooking up.
Doesn't sound like it.
Okay, all right. Well, that puts a whole different spin on it. Okay,
right.
So he's unable to enjoy sex because
his
wife has nausea, headaches, mood swings, memory loss, fractured wrist.
Well, you know what? Leave it to the Los Angeles Kings to ruin happiness wherever it might exist.
And they're finding some very interesting ways to do it, too.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'd say just give her a couple Percocet and don't worry about it.
You guys have seen the plans for the new Minnesota Vikings stadium, right?
Yep.
It looks like a church.
Yeah,
Yep.
It looks like a church. A lot of glass.
It looks like the first church of Adrian Peterson.
The Audubon Society calls new Viking Stadium a death trap for birds. Because birds can't distinguish the difference between glass and not glass.
Oh.
And so and according to a study that they've done, let me see if this Minnesota survey has found more than 125 species have fatally collided with buildings in the Twin Cities since 2007.
Okay. It's going to be hilarious during the middle of a football game when the camera pans to like this giant wall of glass and you just see hundreds of birds lying down as they fly in.
Mike's right. If we could find a way to see that, I think it would be pretty funny for a couple minutes. Maybe
just
not.
Imagine.
You know.
Just imagine they do that like kind of low camera angle where they kind of come up from behind the quarterback and like in the background you just see like this wall of glass,
little black dots
hanging
off the windows and falling.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of bird death.
I don't like birds, but that's a whole other thing. So
I had a professor in university who would once went on a rant about how he was scared of birds because they reminded him of dinosaurs.
The NFL has released their first quarter jersey sales leaders.
Oh,
it is one and only Johnny
Do you know
Manziel.
who's number one?
Yeah, Johnny Manziel.
Cleveland Browns rookie quarterback Johnny Manziel.
I don't know why everyone's getting so excited. He's just a backup.
Yeah, there was a big article today that he will not practice with the first string squad when camp opens up.
Really?
I don't know what the point is they're trying to prove with this guy. Well, I do know what it is.
They're trying to make him earn it.
He's out having fun. He's not bowing at the altar of Cleveland football every day, so they're going to teach him a lesson. I think it's great that he's having fun, and who cares?
You know, you want to go and get high at Justin Bieber's party, then go on ahead.
I'm not big about him hanging out with Justin Bieber, but
no one should, but they are going to regardless. Oh, by the way, speaking of Justin Bieber, before we go further, there's a museum in downtown Kitchener. It's mostly for kids to teach them about science and stuff. Anyway, Justin Bieber donated his hat and shoes from when he was like 15 to the museum. So if you go to the museum in downtown Kitchener, Ontario, Canada, you can see Justin Bieber's hat and sneakers in a glass case.
Well, screw that Angels game on Sunday. I'm heading to Kitchener, man.
Jesus.
All right. Well, Johnny Manziel, number one jersey. Yep.
Yeah. Number two.
Ooh, that's a good one. Let's see here. I love it when we do this.
No, me too. That's my favorite part of the show.
I'm going to go with Aaron Rodgers.
Nope.
Okay.
Okay. I'm trying to think of rookies.
Oh, no. Oh, is it a rookie jersey?
Second year.
Second year. Andrew Luck.
Nope.
No.
Okay.
Super Bowl champion.
Russell Wilson?
Russell Wilson. Number two. Number three. his counterpart in the NFC West.
Colin Kaepernick.
Colin Kaepernick.
Douchebag.
Number 4, longtime player, legend.
Peyton Manning.
Peyton Manning.
Okay.
Is he coming back to the Broncos?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they just showed Tom Jackson talking to him at Broncos camp. Tom, what's the story from Denver?
Louisville.
Number 5, another Seattle Seahawk.
Richard Sherman.
Crabtree!
Number 6, a little bit of a surprise. He's a rookie.
Michael Sam.
Yep.
Good.
Number 6.
Good.
Surprising at number 10, Seattle's 12th fan jerseys. Ranked
that's
in NFL
lame.
Sales.
That's lame.
You know?
There must be a lot of people in Seattle buying that because I couldn't imagine anybody else buying that. Even if you were a Seahawks fan. Well, maybe if you were a Seahawks fan.
According to this, it's the 3rd highest selling Seahawk jersey behind Wilson Sherman and Wilson and Sherman.
Are you guys surprised Manziel's number 1?
No, because,
Because it's not just Browns fans. There's a bunch of people like, Johnny Football.
Yeah, I suppose.
Gotta get one.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to hold off until the Browns release their bitchin' new uniforms next year. That'll be totally fire.
Highest selling Minnesota Viking jersey?
Not Adrian Peterson?
Adrian Peterson was number 14, but right above him, number 13.
Oh, wow. Who would that
Rookie.
be?
Just got drafted.
Vikings.
Bridgewater.
Teddy Bridgewater.
Oh, okay, yeah. I tell you what, man. I think that he's the guy that's going to be the one we're talking about in 5 years, is Bridgewater.
He's going to get a better shot to play well for a decent team.
No. It's going to be Manziel, because Manziel's going to go down to the Dolphins and win 2 Super Bowls, and then he's going to come back to Cleveland.
The other interesting ones, let's see, number 17 is Robert Griffin III. Number 18 is Blake Bortles.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Jaguars.
Wow.
And 19, Ryan Tannehill.
Jaguar Nation.
So you're telling me that in the top 20 jersey sales, there's a Jaguar and a Dolphin?
Yeah.
That surprises me.
Dolphin doesn't surprise me, because the Miami Dolphins have been around a lot, and I get the feeling that even though Miami's a very fair-weather city, that the team itself probably has a solid core fan base. But the Jaguars?
I have the full list now. So we had Manziel 1, Wilson, Kaepernick, Manning, Sherman, Sam, and then of course your traditional guys: Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, Marshawn Lynch at 11. Number 12, Philadelphia Eagle.
Is it Michael Vick?
No,
Neither quarterback.
Oh, wait. What's his name? LaShawn Jackson.
LaShawn McCoy.
Or McCoy. Him, too.
Yep. Bridgewater Peterson, number 15. The only Dallas Cowboy in the top 25.
Tony Romo.
No, it would be, what's the receiver?
Yes.
Number 88. I can't think of his name.
Yep.
Douchebag. What's his name? Des Bryant.
Des Bryant. There we go. Okay.
Number
I was
16,
close.
your number 1 overall pick, Jadeveon Clowney.
What number is he wearing?
90.
Yeah, that's weak.
He wore 9 at South Carolina.
I thought he wore 7.
Did he wear 7?
Yeah, it was 7, I thought.
Whatever, he's wearing 90.
They should let him wear 7. That'd be cool.
The NFL needs to lighten up on their number.
I mean, it is so cool to me when I see a defensive lineman wearing number 7. That just cracks me up every time.
Or 1.
Yeah, or you get a linebacker wearing number 17 or something. It's just cool.
Yeah. Robert Griffin III, Blake Bortles, Ryan Tannehill. Number 20, you guys would never get this in a million years. It's a Seahawk. He plays defense. It's not Richard Sherman.
The other cornerback. What's his name?
I'm not Cam Chancellor.
I don't. Who is it? Who?
Earl Thomas III.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
At number 20 on the. Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah. Number 21 is J.J. Watt. Number 22, Patrick Willis, San Francisco 49ers.
Okay.
23, Cam Newton. 24, Calvin Johnson. And rounding out the top 25, number 12 of your programs, number 1 in your heart, Andrew Luck.
I thought Luck would be higher on that list.
So, he's behind Tannehill.
Yeah.
Newton,
and Bortles,
and Bridgewater.
Right.
He's got to win. He's got to supersede Manning before he can climb those jersey sales.
I mean, I could see Bridgewater because he's a good prospect and all that, but Bortles, come on. And Jacksonville?
Yeah, by the way, Michael Sam, number 96. A little weird.
Oh, that's what he's going to wear this year?
Yeah, number 96.
What did he wear in college? I don't remember. Oh, well. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, Johnny Manziel, the second-string quarterback of your Cleveland Browns. Top jersey seller in all the NFL.
Yeah. I don't get Cleveland. If he's your best option, just start him.
Like I said, they're trying to make a... I mean, it's not just simply a matter of making him earn the job. They're making a point to let everybody know that he's the number 2 quarterback. I don't know what the logic is behind this.
Yeah, I don't get it. What's the point? Are you trying to get your highly touted prospect to not want to play for you?
Right. That's exactly what I think. Are you making... Is the goal to make him feel as unwelcome as you possibly can?
Last thing I have. I'm not married. Mike, you're not married. Greg, you've had a girlfriend for a long time, right?
Actually, oh my God, what's the date today? The 24th?
Today's the 24th of July.
I missed our anniversary, but yeah, it's 16 years.
Wow. Well, there you go.
Bravo, sir.
This might interest you, kind of. There was a Reddit thread that popped up. The wife put up this post after she received something from her husband. So she explains it this way. Yesterday morning, while in a taxi on my way to the airport, my husband sent me a message to my work email, which is connected to my phone. He's never done this, and we always communicate in person or by text. I open it up, and a sarcastic diatribe basically saying he won't miss me for the next 10 days while I'm gone. Attached is a spreadsheet of all the times he has tried to initiate sex since June 1st. With a column for my excuses, using verbatim quotes as to why I didn't feel like having sex that day. According to his document, we've only had sex 3 times in the last 7 weeks out of his 27 attempts.
Let's see. I'm watching the show. It was a Friends rerun.
It was a Friends rerun.
I feel sweaty and gross and need to shower. Didn't shower until next morning. I'm still a bit tender from yesterday. Oh, I guess they actually had sex the day before. I see.
Right.
Okay.
Yes. The next one is a nonverbal no. Trying to watch a movie, fell asleep 15 minutes later. Drunk, ate too much.
Did the shower thing again, still didn't shower till the next morning. Well, she goes to the shower excuse an awful lot.
Just came back from the gym and feels gross. Yep. Another nonverbal no, have to get up early. Then they get one more. Then there's 2 drunk, gross, ate too much, sweaty, gross. Sick, still don't feel 100%, need to shower, tired, no, watching my show.
You know what I get out of this? I can't wait to get married because it just seems...
I will let you guys in on a little secret, okay? There are 2 keys to a successful relationship.
Okay.
The first one is, and this is going to sound weird, you have to sleep in separate beds. Hear me out on this. You've slept in your own bed your whole life. You're used to it. You get into a relationship. All of a sudden, you're sleeping with somebody else in the bed. You've never done that. Well, you're sure you've done it for a day or 2, whatever, here and there. But as a matter of practice every day, you've never done that. So you're tired all the time because you're not sleeping the way you used to. And then you start getting on each other's nerves. And the next thing you know, 5 years later, you hate each other's guts. And it's all because you were tired. Number 2 thing is, actually, there's 3 things. Number 2 thing is do your own laundry. Simple as that. Third thing is don't have kids.
Children ruin everything.
They do.
Isn't that kind of the point of a marriage?
Well, I suppose, but it's worked for us.
Well, you're not married. It's common law, right?
No, I don't know what it is. Jeez,
you guys not have that in Ohio? I'm
sure we do. Listen to me. I don't know what it is. That sounds terrible.
Kids suck the life out of everything.
We've got plenty of people. We don't need more kids. That's all I'm saying.
Sure.
But
it's a cynical way of looking at it.
Well,
there's too many people on this planet.
I've got 2 nephews and 2 nieces, and I love them to death, and they're the greatest thing ever.
And that's all Greg needs.
That's all I need. I'm a pretty good parent when it comes to cats and dogs. I'm great at that. Seriously, the kids thing, I suppose, is however you want to go about it. But the sleeping in your own bed thing, I'm dead serious about that. There are 3 couples I know that have been together as long as we have, and you know what? We all have in common. We all sleep in separate beds. So is that it? Because I'm really painting myself into a corner here.
I mean, Mike and I kind of generally talked about it, but I don't know if you heard us.
Okay, yeah, throw it in.
The new Batman mask.
Oh, no, I've got to see this.
With Ben Affleck in it.
Let me see it. You got a picture?
There you go.
All right.
He looks like a cat.
Yeah. The ears are bugging me, and, I'm really trying hard to give him the benefit of the doubt and think he'll do a good job, but I'm just having a tough time with Ben Affleck as Batman. I can't help it.
I really liked Christian Bale. This just seemed like Ben Affleck just seems like a step down.
Yeah.
And also, Zach and I talked about it before.
Is this got the neck thing going again?
They've got the neck. You can't turn his neck.
Yeah, it has the problem of the not bendable neck. So either this rubber is going to let his neck bend, or he's going to have to do the Michael Keaton turn the body. Which
is especially ridiculous when they addressed this point in The Dark Knight.
Well, I'm trying to look at it. It doesn't look like – I think the problem with the Michael Keaton one was that it was a full piece into the shoulders. I think this is just – it stops at the neck.
Whatever it's made out of might be very thin at the neck, so he can turn it, and it's what's the word, malleable, where you can kind of move it.
Won't know until we ever see any video of it. But that's your first promotional shot of Ben Affleck. Oh, and speaking of Batman, yesterday was Batman Day officially.
Yeah, I saw your Facebook post. Yeah,
which is cool. It means that Batman and myself have a birthday one day apart.
Yesterday's not Batman's birthday; they just declared it as Batman.
When is your birthday, Mike?
July 22nd.
Let me be the last to wish you.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Probably literally.
It's also the birthday of the future king of the United Kingdom.
Oh.
Cool. Prince George.
Is that kid walking yet?
He's 1 year old.
Happy birthday, Mike. Did you do anything special?
My friends and I, we went out over the weekend to celebrate. Tuesday, which was my actual birthday, was pretty low-key, but I had fun on that too, and that was also the first day that we took basically a geek show to its new recording time on Tuesdays.
Did you get any cool gifts?
Everyone gave me cash.
That's not bad. Not bad.
Everyone gave me cash. But speaking of movies, there's also an official trailer for 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah, my God, and was it awful?
Yeah.
Oh my! I don't get it. I mean, I know it's like a chick book and all that, but the movie just looks stupid.
The whole thing started. You're gonna think I'm kidding when I say this, but I'm being truthful. This is true. True story. 50 Shades of Grey started off as Twilight fan fiction, and then when the author thought that she had something workable, she just took out all the vampire references and changed all the names.
Are you serious?
I am completely serious.
It started out as Twilight fan fiction?
Yes.
Wow.
Well, makes me hate that thing even more.
Yeah, I can tell you that I will be watching Draft Day probably 10 times before I watch 50 Shades of Grey. But yeah, I watched the trailer because I saw it. I was on the IMDb site looking up something else, and I saw the trailer. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to watch this, and it just looks so awful.
I haven't watched it yet. I'm waiting till we're finished with the show to hit the play button and just go on the journey.
It's a journey.
It's a whole lot of suck, let me tell you.
Oh God!
I mean, I get the premise of the book now.
Yeah.
Has anybody seen The Rise of the Planet of the Apes? Or The Dawn of the Planet of the Apes?
I have not.
Mike?
No, I have not yet.
I haven't either. I've heard it's very good, though. But
I haven't seen the movie in a while.
Are you guys? I'm an ape head. Are you guys ape heads?
The current series, I liked the one of James Franco.
Yeah.
If this movie's good, it'll give me hope that the rebooted series can do some things.
The thing with the Mark Wahlberg one, it's okay, but when you compare the original ending of Planet of the Apes, where he walks up on the shore and there's the broken Statue of Liberty, and oh my God, what have you done, you fools?
You blew it up!
Yeah.
God damn you all to hell!
And all of a sudden he time travels and is in front of the Lincoln Memorial?
Right.
Except Abe Lincoln is a monkey?
And now it's evil gorilla chimp from before.
Who was the main protagonist in the movie, and you can't even remember his name. General something or other.
General Chimp.
Yeah, General Chimp. That's what we're going to go with.
An entrant in the next glorious tournament of victory. General Chimp.
Perfect. Anyway, we got anything else, guys?
I'm tapped out. Unless you want to read the 26 foods you should learn to cook in your 20s.
No. The Twitter is basically sports, and the email, basicallyasportshow@gmail.com. I actually went back and read an email. We actually got one, so keep sending them in. And you can go to the website, basicallyasportshow.com. You can listen to us on iTunes, Stitcher, Spreaker, and the YouTubes.
And then coming in probably 3 weeks, maybe.
Yeah, probably thereabouts.
Basically a football show.
The return of basically a football show. Season 2. Hard to believe. Well, we're closing in on the 2-year anniversary of this show as well.
Yeah, well, when football season kicks off, that will be 2 years.
Yeah.
Basically a sports show.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're closing in on 200 episodes.
We've only taken, 3 weeks off total.
Have we? I was thinking about this the other day. Since Andy left, have we taken a week off since he's been gone?
I don't think Christmas.
No, we did a Christmas show. It was the second, basically, a Lounge Report. It was 2 days after Christmas.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought we took
maybe the week before.
Maybe. I thought we took a week off somewhere, but,
Yeah.
We're dedicated.
Not to say that Andy wasn't. I'm just using that as the line of demarcation there.
No, because I think we only took 1 week off with Andy, and I think we've taken another one without him, I want to say. Because, at some point we just miss a show, whatever.
Right.
People do that.
But yeah, 2 years of this. It's been wild. I mean, I don't know. I didn't go into it thinking it wouldn't last, but I think 2 years is pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Indeed. Indeed.
People that don't know each other.
And speaking of, I just want to just give Mike some props too here, because every once in a while I go and look at all of our download numbers and all that. Basically a geek show. When it started, it was doing okay. But as of about the last 4 or 5 weeks, it is in pretty much a dead heat with this show as far as listeners go. So way to go, Mike. Nice job.
Thank you.
When do we have to kick him off the island, Greg?
When he gets bigger than we are, then he's got to go. But right now, he's still okay.
No,
when the football show comes back, it'll crush everything.
Yeah,
in its sight.
No, we're very excited about that. We have a ton of fun doing basically a geek show, so we're happy that people are listening.
But yeah, so I just thought that was pretty cool that you guys built a pretty good audience in a pretty short amount of time.
Yeah, we just spammed our show links to every geeky outlet: MMO Champions, TFW, Nation States, Taija 2 forums. So we've really been getting the word out to people we think would be interested in listening to us.
See, I would do that with this show, except that sports fans are such assholes that I don't know that it would work out.
That one time we tried to expand out, we had issues.
Oh, with the more like radio thing.
We were just surrounded by people who...
We couldn't hang with that kind of quality.
Well, you know what? I think we could have probably held it out if we really wanted to. We could have stuck with it.
Yeah.
We just didn't feel like doing it. So
well, we didn't fit in there at all.
And they didn't like us when we would actually talk about hockey. So
anyway, if that's it, we're going to call it a night.
All right.
Is that it?
That's it.
Okay, we'll see you next time right here on Basically a Sports Show. Later.
See y'all.
Later.
Please hang up and try again.